So, that was certainly a month. In the last one of these updates, I talked a little bit about using June to try to get a grip on myself, which, ironically also included the intent to let up a little bit on my overworking habit. Crazy enough, the pendulum swung perhaps a little bit further than it should have. June ended up being really rough for me personally. And, I hate making a big deal of things, but I consider myself pretty lucky to even be producing this video at all, let alone gearing up for the bulk of the month's content to come. The month of June started pretty great, but about a week in, it definitely took a turn for the worse, and after battling myself for another week or a little bit more than that, I wound up having probably the worst breakdown of my adult life, bar none. It took the rest of the month to slowly recover from that, not to mention the ramifications of it, that I still had on my psyche. So, while nothing would have looked different to any of you guys, because all of those videos were produced, before the breakdown ever happened, long before the breakdown happened as well, I can't say I had a fantastic time through most of June. Sorry to start the video on a little bit of a downer, relatively speaking, and more of one than even the rest of this year's state of affairs have already done, which were, down compared to any of the prior couple of years, basically. But that is the short story of how I feel going into this video. It's definitely been a little bit tough, and like I said, the fact that I'm in a place where I'm actually feeling okay enough to produce a video is almost a little bit of a surprise to me. All of that said, though, I don't really have anything to complain about when it comes to my channel's health on either of my primary channels at this point, and that is generally a bit more of what these videos are supposed to be about. So let's give that a go and discuss the highlights of my content in June, most especially the video-related highlights. Now, between my two channels, I did, of course, post 3 update videos, pretty normal there, the state of affairs, plus a couple of bi-weekly updates that I've been doing, so all of that managed to happen like normal. But as for individual video production, I made 11 videos on the main channel, which I believe is pretty much the same as what the last handful of months have produced, maybe even one more video than the last couple of months. And then on the second channel, I did 8 videos plus 4 live streams, compared to 9 videos and 3 live streams last month. So pretty similar content output, all things considered, throughout the month. Nothing really changed there. As for the actual videos themselves that I would like to shout out, the first couple of these are collaborations that the main channel did with the second channel. First one where I talked about whether I consider myself a critic, basically my criteria for what that basically is and whether I deem myself to fall under that or not. I did a video talking about the video game project Winless. That's a working title that was announced recently, but is based off of a book that I read over the course of the month. I finally ranked Sun Eater, all 7 books of that series, not including any side content. That's been a long time coming and is also not a final ranking, mind you. I did another list where I talked about a handful of books that made me cry at some point or another, these being the 5 most memorable ones. And then I updated my personal book canon, my favorite books of all time. I didn't think I would do that after only a year, but I did. On the second channel, I started off movie magic related stuff, talking about the Maple Films fan edit of The Hobbit and comparing that to the original version plus the books. I did a brief review on BioShock 2 Remastered, which took a little longer than it should have to produce, but I had a fun time with that. I reviewed another couple of new releases from this year, namely Backrooms, which just came out recently, and then I also went back and finally watched Iron Lung when that came out on YouTube, basically, and did a video about that. And that was all a really fun time. I also have, some pretty exciting plans for what's going to be coming out this month, but that is not the purpose of this video. As for the statistics, what basically happened on both of these couple of channels, things went very well. Every metric went up this month. I got over 2,500 views on the main channel, which was up nearly 20% over the previous month on the main channel, so that was really solid. I also went up about 17% in terms of watch hours, got 272 watch hours. I had over 52,000 impressions, which was up 36% even, which was a pretty big jump. And then I had a net gain of 14 subscribers. This was really notable to me because the last handful of months, my subscriber count has really struggled, where I've gained plenty of subscribers. I've been in the gaining double digits even the last few months, but I've also been losing enough subscribers over the last few months from places that I'm really not sure where, that have caused those numbers to be a little bit down the last few months anyway. The same thing still kind of happened this month. You know, I started off the month losing like 7 subscribers or something in the first week, but also gaining like 10 within the first week. And so my net gain was like 3, but then, you know, a handful more extra videos came out this month that ended up getting the net gain up to plus 14, which is really solid, especially when you consider what I lost early in the month. So on the second channel, I also had quite a bit of success, nearly 1,000 views, which was, you know, huge increase, well more than double the amount of views from the prior month. Most of this because of those couple of movie magic videos that I'm shouted out earlier. Got 81.4 watch hours, which was nearly double of what I had the prior month. And then I also got nearly 80,000 impressions between all of those videos, and then the live streams, which was, you know, quite nearly triple the impression count that I had the prior month. So that was all quite a lot, and I gained 8 subscribers over there, putting my total at 168. So like I said, it was a pretty successful month, all things considered, as far as the statistics were concerned. Nothing to complain about there, basically. It was really nice, basically. I would say it was a little bit of a comfort to actually have some really solid and consistent performance between the channels when I personally was not doing well. It's not to say that I rely on, you know, any of these statistics or anything to make me feel well, but it just to say it made me feel better when I wasn't feeling well at all. As for the fiction, or not even just the fiction, the writing statistics in general, I have literally nothing to add here, actually. Okay, I have a little bit to add here. As far as the fiction and stuff is concerned, I did talk a little bit last month about how I had started writing my next story and how that was a kind of a follow-up to a prior story that I'd released a few months ago, and that was A Wish Come True is kind of the working title that I'm going for that for now. I added 420 words to that project in June, finished writing the prelude basically. I think I had written the prelude basically prior. There was like 560 words or something like that, or 600 and something words that were written for that. Let me double check my other document over here. I had written 664 words for that, but I wound up bringing the word count down because I had said that about a third of it would need to be rewritten, and I did do that. I cut about a third of it and then added 420 words or so. Got the total of the prelude up to 842 words this month, but I'm actually most likely going to end up rewriting that entire prelude. You know, I think I have a better / more effective story framing for the prelude to give a shot that I think will be better, like setting wise. Basically the concept of what I wrote is going to carry through because, you know, I like fundamentally what I did get written for the prelude. I just don't think that it actually serves the purpose that I want the prelude to serve, like kind of on a meta angle, I suppose, as well as this other idea that I have for it. I think this new idea will work better for it from a framing perspective, and so I'm going to basically at some point rewrite the prelude with that new framing, but keeping basically the same general beats there. So, you know, a little bit of a technical discussion there. I could have and wanted to write a lot more of this, you know, it's such as that prelude rewrite. I would have liked to also get through that in June, if nothing else. But that mental breakdown that I kind of talked about a little bit earlier really affected things. I just didn't do much of anything. Exemplified even more by the fact that I have 0 words to add to any of my review related stuff to talk about here. You know, I have like 9 book reviews to catch up on at this point. I have like kind of sort of technically 4, I mean, I guess you could say maybe just 3, but like 4 game-related reviews that I need to catch up on. A 5th if you want to, you know, count a specific video series that is different from the others. Stuff that we don't need to get into detailed wise for this video. I have, what is this, like 6 movie reviews to catch up on at this point now, and then I have a few more, like, more blog related types of videos to catch up on. I have a couple album reviews, specific album reviews that I would have liked to have written over the last couple of months that I haven't, and then, like I said, more blog related stuff, some more general titles that I would like to make into videos because they become a little bit more pertinent, you know, to stuff that's been going on with me the last few months. Stuff that I would just like to write about just to kind of see what happens with that. Maybe put some of those on the third channels, like personal, you know, IRL related stuff, as opposed to either one of the main channels. So basically, all things considered, what is that total? That's like, what, 9 plus, I'm going to say 5 plus 6 makes, what, 19? Is that how that works? No, 9 plus 5 plus 6 is 20. And then you have another handful. So like 25, basically, different blog or review related things that I have on the backlog to be written. I just didn't write anything this month, and I don't frankly know if I'm going to be writing very much this month, because as for this month, normally I have my content schedules planned out well ahead of time. By the time I produce one of these State of Affairs videos, by the time I'm actually recording it, I generally have that schedule planned out and have often produced many of the videos for the schedule already, or at least recorded them or something like that. That is certainly not the case for me this month. Going into July 2026, I mostly have no idea what's releasing this month. Like, I know one review that's going to come out because it's following a pattern. I have a few more movie magic videos coming out on the second channel that I know what's happening with those. A couple of them have already been made. And another one is pretty solidly scheduled where it is anyway, but outside of those, plus my general streaming schedule on Saturdays on the second channel, I have no idea what's happening this month. So what that means for my plans and my goals for July, I mean, it actually makes it pretty simple, quite frankly. You know, I need to get out of whatever the frickin' funk it is that I've been in the last couple of weeks. I need to relocate that creative bone to get July's videos done and start writing some of the stuff that I need to catch up on again, especially like the game and film review stuff. Well, not really the film review stuff, because I've been doing those without the scripts lately, but the game review stuff in particular, I need to get on top of so that I can make videos for those. Plus, you know, all of the other stuff. I need to just get through, you know, producing things, getting on top of actually working again, where my prior problem was I'd been working too much. My problem this month is I didn't do basically any work at all, and it might have been, you know, contributing to part of the funk that I've been in. Maybe just a little bit, just kind of knowing myself. I also am going to be trying to not beat myself up too bad for how much I've arbitrarily fallen behind, because with all of this stuff, especially on the writing side of things that I've got needing to be done, not just the video schedule, like nothing, there's so much that I have on my immediate plate. It's just like, man, I need to get back on top of some of these things, and I need to not beat myself up too much for falling behind on all of that this month, because I have a bad habit of doing that to myself. Also, you know, as per the tie here, happy Independence Day to my very heavily American audience. Tomorrow, at the time of this video's release anyway, I'm going to celebrate the 250th birthday of America. So that's a fun time too. But that's basically all that I have to say for this update video. Thank you for watching if you did. Like I said, sorry to start it off with a little bit of a downer, but June was not my finest moment. Sorry, I have something in my throat. It keeps on cutting off words while I'm talking. June was not my finest month for sure. Hoping that July will be a little bit better. But that's what I said going into June. So I'm hoping I'm not jinxing myself once again. But in either case, thank you for watching. Hope you guys have a good weekend. I hope the Americans have a great holiday. And I hope to see you guys in the next video as well.